Okay, so once again, Moses' face is shining. How does he deal with this radiance that comes off of him? And so I want to finish looking at chapter 34 today and look at 33, 34, and 35 verses. It says, when Moses finished speaking with them, he covered his face with a veil. But whenever he went into the tent of meeting to speak with the Lord, he would remove the veil until he came out again. Then he would give the people whatever instructions the Lord had given him. And the people of Israel would see the radiant glow of his face. So he put the veil over his face until he returned to speak with the Lord. So he covers his face here. But apparently in the presence of God, at that point in his own tent, because the tabernacle had not been built yet. So Moses' tent, his place of residence, kind of became that tabernacle. We talk about this earlier in chapter 33, specifically in verse 7, that God's presence would come down, that Shekinah glory, that cloud of presence would come down onto Moses' tent, and Moses would go in and speak with the Lord. That the presence of God, the Spirit of the Lord would be there. So I, as a kid reading this, always thought about this as Moses put the veil on so he wouldn't scare everybody, right? So it's that's easy for us to think, to protect others from this radiance that Moses described as having. But Paul explained it differently. Paul talks about this in 2 Corinthians, that it wasn't to hide Moses' shining face, but that as this radiance diminished, it would not be observed that this glory was fading. Paul says it this way in 2 Corinthians chapter 3. He says, Moses put a veil over his face so that the children of Israel would not look steadily at the end of what was passing away. So this was ending. And Moses wears the veil so they kind of won't see this slow fade. Can I tell you exactly why Moses did that? I don't know. As a kid, I always thought it was to protect the Israelites. But when I cross-reference and go to the New Testament, there's actually a different purpose there. So over time, after being in the presence of God in such a concentrated fashion for such a long period of time, that 40 days, it will eventually fade, and Moses won't have that radiance, that physical radiance that literally made everybody back up when he came down off the mountain. See you soon.